Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, good or bad. You know who you are. Today I'm doing a review of the 10 of the Iraq 10 files. It's a common coin. The mintage is stated right there, 52,456,000 even. It's an Iraq coin. Like I used to say, sometimes somewhat hard to find since it's enemy territory. And it's from 1971 to 1981. And this one's a 1975. So like in 1975, the quarter and the Kennedy half dollar, they didn't make for a year. But in 1976, they celebrate the 100th anniversary of our independent rights. Like 1776 to 1976. So like in 1975, they didn't make the quarter nor the Kennedy half dollar. Those two took a break. And it's an Islamic calendar. The value 10 files. The metal, it's a stainless steel coin. The weight is 5.75. Diameter 26. Thickness 1.6. And the shape is a scalloped with 12 notches. And its metal alignment, demonetized, yes. And the obverse is 3 palm trees in forged ground row in the trees in background, both sides years on both sides. So obviously you can't see the years on both sides, I don't think. Oh yeah, they're right here, just in the Islamic calendar. In the reverse, pardon me, is value in Arabic in central circle with lettering wheat ear and leaf below, lettering above. And the edges are smooth. The comment year 1981 was struck on a Royal Canadian Mint, Ottawa, O-T-T-A-W-A, Ottawa. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, but there will be one more of these I'll be posting, which is that exact year of the another Iraq coin. In today's scripture I want to talk about for this Father's Sunday is Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you, there will be some standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. In the meaning of that, we can say, oh, excuse me, the study Bible doesn't say what it means. 1626. Yeah, it skipped at that part, but here, I'm going to read this whole thing. What does Matthew's chapter 16 verse 26 mean? In order to understand Matthew 16:26, we have to put it into context, the words around it. Here is the rest of the passage. 21. From the time Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed, at the third day he rised to life. 22. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Never, Lord, he said, this shall never happen to you. 23. Jesus turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. 24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. 25. Whosoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. 26. That what good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? For the Son of Man is going to come to his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. Matthew 16:21 through 27. Okay, let's talk. Jesus is explaining to his disciples the nature of what he came to do, that he must suffer and die and be raised to life on the third day. Peter doesn't understand this. He thinks that if Jesus really is the Messiah, he shouldn't have to suffer. He thinks that Jesus should just take what is rightfully his and establish himself as a king without dying on the cross. And says this, Peter is echoing the temptation that Jesus received from Satan in Matthew 4, where Satan tempts Jesus to avoid suffering and use his power for his own gain, and says that if Jesus will only worship him, then the crown to all the kingdoms of the world will be his. Matthew 4. Satan literally tempts Jesus with the whole world in exchange for his soul. Jesus is saying that it is God's plan that he would lose his life in order to what we may gain eternal life. When we put our trust in him, if Jesus does not go through the cross, then he will have allowed Satan to win and we would be without hope. That's why he is so harsh with Peter. But there is another point Jesus is making too. He is saying that if someone would choose to follow Jesus, it must be wholehearted, and they must be prepared for hardship and suffering, perhaps even for death. They must deny themselves and take up their cross. A disciple of Jesus must resist the temptation of Satan to go for easy life. We must avoid the attitude which says, I will follow you, Jesus, and do what you say, but only if life isn't too hard. Jesus is clear here that we must not long after material wealth, comfort or security, much that we neglect our calling to be obedient to him. He is incredibly honest. He says the Christian life will be hard and that we will have to endure suffering. So let's say that again. The Christian life will be hard and that we will have to endure suffering. Okay? This is important for us to know. Before we commit to follow him, however, he also promises that in the end of there will be a great reward for those who endure all the hardship and still have remained obedient to him. What verse 26 is saying is that we have two choices. We can either choose him now and have life that will be entail suffering, but which will gain heavenly reward, or we can choose earthly rewards now instead of him and endure an eternal suffering in hell. When put like that, doesn't it make sense to choose obedience to Jesus now? If you want to pray this through, why don't you pray that Jesus will help you to be obedient to him in all things, especially when life gets hard? And pray for those people around you who have rejected him and are in danger of hell. Pray that you might have the courage to speak to them about seriousness of their situation. Okay, that could be as long as I ever took on a video, but I hope someone could get something from that. as what I said, preach for today. I reckon you can say read a passage from today. And more about suffering, it's pretty much in Naba 2, and I don't remember anything else, but I believe I talked about that, why he allowed suffering, in a few videos back, somewhere reading about the scripture. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Thanks for joining me and listening to me on this Father's Day if you have. This is Lakeview John, out.